Hey everyone, it's nice to see all of you. We are experimenting with this very fun and interactive live stream today. Welcome to the Zoe Creator Program. I'm thrilled to have all of you here today. And we're going to be celebrating the work of amazing educators, PhD students, professors who've spent the last couple of months exploring and building immersive learning experiences using Zoe. There's going to be three of us kind of navigating this stream today. So there's me, Emily. I'm one of the co-founders of Zoe. We have Kaylee, who's going to be the host. And Sil is going to be the one going in VR and testing all the experiences. For the majority of the creators, it was their first time building a VR experience. And for some, it was more about refining existing courses or empowering their students to be the creators. Generally, the goal of our creator program is to provide a kind of a starting point and a space for experimentation and iteration for a successful, future implementation into classes. This showcase today is pretty global, so we've got 12 individuals that are going to be presenting. We have UK, Finland, Brazil, Italy, Spain, the US, Canada. I may have forgotten the country, and please just say where you're from when you present so we can, know what you're up to. Everyone's really bringing a unique perspective, so all the projects are very different. So they'll have 5 minutes to present, quick introduction, and then Sil is going to be on the headset and testing things. It's going to be pretty fun, hopefully without too many technical issues, but of course, with live testing, anything can happen. So we'll do our best. We'll even have, I think, one multiplayer session. We thought we'd never do multiplayer live again, but we're going to do it anyway because it's going to be fun. And it's about learning Japanese, so we're excited about that. I also wanted to mention that our next creator program is actually already open for applications. So you can grab the link on this page, and it is on our website, and you can see, all the information that you need on there. I'm not going to talk for too long because we have many people presenting, so we want to talk, kind of cut to the chase. I'm going to leave the floor to Kaylee, and I am going to be in the backstage trying to make sure the tech works. So, I'll be DJing around in the back, and then I will see you all again a little later when we're done with the presentations. We have two groups. The first group is going in first, and then the second group will come after a 30-second countdown again. Enjoy the presentation, Kaylee. The floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name's Kaylee Powell, and I'm the Community Relations Coordinator at Zoe Immersive. I'll just be acting as kind of your MC or your compere today, alongside Sil and Emily handling all the technical stuff. So first up for our first group, we have Elio Salvatore, who's from the Fondazione Bruno Kessler in Italy. So Elio, will you please give us a little introduction to who you are, maybe where you're calling from, and the work you do before we jump into your project?
Thanks, Katie. Yes, I'm calling from Italy, in the north of Italy, close to the Italian Alps. It's 7 o'clock p.m. here at the moment, and yes, I'm a researcher and also a startupper. And here I'm going to present what I've been playing, the prototype I set up using Zoe.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Elio. So let's check out Elio's project and hear a little bit more about it.
Yes. So what I've been doing, I was interested in setting up a prototype that was aimed at performing rehabilitation activities with people with Parkinson. So from this point of view, this you can see here. This is the description of the prototype that I did in my office. So the idea would be it's a pass-through application, as you can see, and the patient is kind of let me say invited to move within a space, and grab certain objects with the proper hands, either right hands or left hands, with some sound feedback, and also some obstacles that you can see here. As you can see here, there is a mix of physical and digital objects the patient should be aware of. This is the sound. Yeah, and this is the grand finale. Can you stop a bit the video? Is it possible? So just explain. So as you may know, people with Parkinson, they have troubles in their gait, and in particular in their balance when they are moving. So the feedback we got from the therapists involved in this activity is that they would like to see an applications in pass-through, because in a fully immersive environment could be too tough for the patients, where they can see, you know, the gym where they usually do the activities, but with this mix between, you know, physical and virtual reality, they may perform certain activities, certain additional activities compared to what they can do in their in the typical setting. So the good thing is that using Zoe is that I was able to set up a prototype a pretty short time, with some interaction, both visual and audio interact feedback for the patients. And what we have been discussing now with therapists is also to really try to leverage on the combination of both the physical objects and the digital ones to better, let me say, target the objectives, the rehabilitation activities as. So yes, this is what I've been doing. It was, I would say, a very interesting experience. I really enjoyed the fact that the prototype can be set up in a that the learning, let me say, curve is quite let me say fast. At the same time, there I've been discussing. I got a lot of help during the creator program from Sylvain regarding few features like randomizing the objects that was appearing within the environment, and also counting the objects the patients were grabbing during the experience. You may have seen from the video there were either apples or avocados to be collected, but of course you can have a much more complex interactions. Yeah, maybe we can go ahead. This is the recording I did from the gym, where you can see all the tools they are usually using. And yeah, the overlap between the digital and the physical objects. Yeah, this was one of the operators that was doing the demo. So it was after this quick demo, we also interacted a lot to see, you know, potential areas of improvements and few other things that we can introduce in the future release. And this is part of the activity of the research group where I'm working. It's a group focusing on using extended reality technologies for digital therapies. And for me, it was a really nice experience, actually, having the chance to set up such prototype in a very short time. I really appreciate it. That's it. I don't know if there is anything, or maybe Sylvain has some comments or.
It was nice to work with you, and I appreciated your idea of randomization, and it really pushed me to try to find a solution. And I hope we did that. There is a whole system that is not visible, but using objects outside of the visible frame that sets randomization to make the objects appear.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank
there
you
was a
so much for
question.
sharing your work with us. Oops, sorry. Oh yes, Craig has said, does people with people with Parkinson's, does their head shaking impact this?
Yeah, of course, there is, there are several levels of severity in Parkinson, and it may be one of the eligibility criteria, if there is too much shaking or if they are in, let me say, in the off area during the day, it would be, of course, more difficult to do this kind of activities. They usually do it when their pills are, let me say, correctly handling their trembling. So yeah, it's a nice question actually, but yeah, usually the operators also in the typical setting, they usually do these therapies when they are under effect of the drugs they are taking. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Elio. It's been lovely working with you these past few months and wishing you all the best.
Same here. Bye.
Bye. And next up, we are moving across the world to Canada to Andre Plant from Conestoga College. Andre, if you'd be so kind as to introduce yourself.
Yes, so Andre Plant, I'm a part-time faculty at Conestoga in a very interesting program, a VR reality or virtual reality production. It's a graduate program, so we have students that actually learn how to create projects inside of VR. And Zoe is becoming one of our tools for students to learn how to do that, create interaction. Certainly, they also learn Unity and Unreal, but Zoe is a good starting place for them. The project that I did, is basically an exemplar. So it's not for students to really use, but to look at and to sort of play with. In order to create some sort of industrial process or logistical process. So it's a simulation of an industrial process. In this case, I went for pizza baking, nothing too complex, but students do things like port freight and bus, bus stops and whatnot. So all sort of things. But I hope you enjoy.
Yes, let's have a look.
Welcome to this experimental pizza industrial line. To master the full process, you will go through a 5-step tutorial. Press play button on your left controller. It looks especially like a slice of pizza. Oh, yes, here. Oh, wow. Dear food technician, place a baseball-sized piece of dough on the X in order to start the flattening process of the crust. Wonder if this
No.
one.
Yes.
Click the red button to go to the next step. Time to put toppings on this pie. First, touch the faucet to put the tomato sauce on the pizza crust. Second, today's pie production requires these toppings. 6 mushroom slices. Okay. Five and 6. 4 green peppers. Okay. Light dusting of shredded cheese. Oh, here it is. Oh, and 8 pepperoni slices. One more. Yeah. Let's bake. Baking time. The ideal temperature for baking pizza is about 650 Fahrenheit or 350 Celsius. Set the oven at the proper heat by adjusting the burners on the tablet. Lower, higher. I guess higher. Okay, that's 250. 450. A bit more. Okay, 650. Yeah, 350. I wonder would it cook faster if I click more? Oh, let's try even faster. Call 911. Okay, I think it's time to move to the next step. Cutting time. Please take the pizza cutter and slice this pizza in 8 equal portions. Then press the red button to go to the next step. Okay. That's Last steps. Let's put the lid on these pizza boxes. Yes. 2 more boxes to go. One of the lids. Grab one of the lids and place it on top of the remaining box. Rinse and repeat. Okay. Thank you. Oh. Wow. I have reached pizza nirvana. Oh, thank you. I've learned so much.
Yeah, so basically it's those 5 steps. I tried different types of interaction, grabbing things, pressing on things, etc., just to show what can be done basically with Zoe, and for my students to imagine what they could do with a different process.
Thank you, Andre. I really loved the incorporation of humor into the experience. That was really fun. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Who's next to the stage? I will be summoning Andrew Cedillo up next from New Mexico State University. Where is he? Is he coming? Let's see. There he is. Welcome.
Hey, thank you all so much. I wish I had like some entrance music or some like fog or something as I hop on to share a little bit about my experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Andrew, if you just give us a little bit of context for you and your work, and then I believe that this is our first prototype today where there will be a live demonstration. So Syl's getting into the headset now, and then Andrew will walk us through after telling us a little more about himself.
Yeah, no, thank you all so much for having me. And so the reason why I created this is because we design a lot of virtual reality sims here at New Mexico State University when we're working with different faculty. One thing that we have that's missing and that I've identified is that when we work as an instructional designer with subject matter experts, a lot of times it's their first time ever using virtual reality. So it's new to them. And one of the really unique things about VR is that if you can dream it, think it, it can potentially happen. It's like a 99% chance it could happen, probably 100% if you have enough money to make it happen with certain simulations. So what I wanted to do is design a space where I could meet with a subject matter expert who I'm helping design a virtual reality experience to really understand the capabilities of these experiences. And so what I did is I created the instructional design kitchen. And what I've done in this kitchen is that you'll see there's a menu items all around this kitchen. You have menu item 1, 2, 3, 4. There's actually 5 total. And the idea is that you, as an instructional designer, you can come in this space with a subject matter expert. And what you're doing is you're introducing them to the concept of virtual reality, but also introducing them to the power of immersion and interactivity. So for example, menu item number 1, the idea is that you bring this person in, you explain to them, hey, you can grab things in these spaces, you can drag and drop them. This is one way of how you can incorporate some active learning in your classrooms. So what you're doing right here is you would get the subject matter expert to grab the moon and the sun and place it next to the earth on this area. And the idea, it gets them thinking, cool, I can grab things can be interactive. That's just a quick little lesson. Now, I also put in menu item number 2, I created a ping pong table. And so if you go here, this is an idea of how you kind of lax the subject matter expert and introduce them to the power of power of virtual reality by having them play ping pong with you. So what I did is I made sure that the ball, you can throw it up in the air and you can actually hit it with the paddle. And the idea here is that you can work with this subject matter expert in this space and just have a casual conversation. So what are you thinking about using VR for? Have you thought about it? Have you ever used VR? It's just a way to just loosen things up and play a game with them. And then we go over here, that's, where that guest is. So if you keep on walking, keep going straight right there, there's menu item number 3. So in instructional design, what we do a lot of is we like to do a lot of scenario-based learning where you take the roles of certain people or you have some type of scenario laid out and people have to answer questions or perform some type of activity. In this situation, I'm talking now with a subject matter expert. Although this is very simple, this is an example of a scenario-based learning situation where we say, hey, in VR, you can think of a scenario in which people have to perform some type of task. Here's a quick example. You're now the server, provide this guest with some water. The subject matter expert grabs the guest, boom, drops the water in front of the guest. Voila, you were just a server. So now it gets them thinking, okay, cool. I have this lesson. I have this scenarios. This is how I would want to utilize something like this in my class. And then if you turn around, keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning one more time. You have that host right there behind you. Keep going, keep spinning, keep spinning. There you go. So in this menu item, what this is all about is showing them the power of choice, showing them how you can easily create some type of activity within a VR setting. So a lot of us instructional designers, if there's anyone in the back end, you use tools like Articulate, Storyline, sometimes to then, drag and drop items or, place things accurately. Well, in VR, you could do this physically. So in this activity, what I would like the subject matter expert to do is say, hey, go grab your breakfast item of choice. What's your favorite item that you would eat in breakfast? And right behind them, you're going to see there's going to be an arrow. So if you spin all the way around after you grab your items, you see there's an arrow. And what I want them to do is place it on those plates. And again, the idea comes to them is that, hey, when we typically do this through a desktop, and you're using a tool like Articulate, you're typically having someone grab a mouse and drag and drop. Well, in VR, you're able to now grab things physically and drop them. And this is just a quick example of an activity. And now the final activity, I maybe should have added a trash can, but I did a basketball goal. And the idea is, let's say I had a subject matter expert who wants to teach the concept of safety in the workplace. And so what I did is I actually placed a bunch of hazardous items in this kitchen. You have a basketball and you also have a tomato, there's an egg, and there's also a banana. What I want them to do as an activity is go shoot it into the hoop, basically saying, hey, I found all of these items in this space. And so that's the concept at the very end. But what I want them to get out of this is that now they start getting their light bulb turned on and thinking about, okay, this was a very basic activity where they're picking up these hazardous items. Now, how can I incorporate it as a check for understanding for students? So that was one of the big things that I wanted to do at the end. So again, you instructional designers out there who are interested in VR, this was intended for you. So when you meet with subject matter experts and you're trying to explain the concepts of immersion, interactivity, this is where you can take them to the instructional design kitchen and show them just the power of VR in a variety of different stations. And that's what my thinking process was behind all of this. And this tool is super easy to use and a lot of fun.
Awesome. Andrew, I'm so impressed. There is so much to this activity. There's so much complexity involved while still maintaining a really specific purpose. So I think this is an excellent example of utilization of the tech. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
No, thank you all so much for having me and allowing me the time to play around with this tool. It was fantastic.
Thank you,
It's
Andrew.
been our pleasure. Thank you. Awesome. Well, we are on a roll with some amazing projects, and we're going to kick it over to our next person, who is Elegant Kramer from the Mary Institute in St. Louis Country Day School. There you are. Hi, Elegant. Welcome.
Hi, good day, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. I'm glad you're here. Would you give us just a little background about you before we take a look at your project?
Sure. Hi. So yeah, my name is Elegant Kramer, and I am the Director of Instructional Technology and Digital Literacy here at Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School, which is a JK through 12 school. And so I oversee all of the different instructional technologies here, from the little kids all the way up to high school seniors. And so I was very fortunate to join the Zoe Creator Program because I want to implement VR technology in our school. And I thought this was just a great way for me to engage in VR technology. We have headsets that are being underutilized now. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about myself and why I joined the Zoe Creator Project.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It looks like Syl's got you all pulled up. Are you good to go on your end, Syl?
I am, yeah. For this one, I went into your workspace directly since you already.
Oh yeah, that's where you want to start. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So, or I thought there was another one, but yes, we can start here. So, a little bit more about myself. So I was actually a former science, this is my second year on the job. And before this, I was actually a science teacher for 13 years. And so there's a lot of science components, specifically on ocean sustainability. So that's where I got this idea from. And in terms of curriculum a little bit, where I was envisioning is just kind of that storytelling aspect with the if then kind of the choose your own adventure book. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. It should be home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, home. Well, I thought I had a different. Oh no, now I remember. So with ocean sustainability, and how it relates to like choose your own adventure. So I don't like mesh two ideas together. Is like basically when students or when anybody makes a choice, there are consequences to this choice, and sometimes those consequences leads to not the ocean, like poor environmental choices does not lead to correct, like it doesn't help the ecosystem. And so here I used basically Zoe's ocean environment. And so it just takes them through a series of choices. So if you were a student in a science class, like a middle school science class, here it says, welcome, take a look around. So just getting them involved in this immersive environment. How many total fish do you see in the scene? So I'll let Syl answer that.
I think it was 7, but I'm not sure. Oh, no, okay.
And so if they didn't get it correct, they would try again. I did count the shark as a fish.
Right. Okay.
And also the manta ray as a fish. So that's why I chose 9. So now they say correct. So that part was just to get them involved in the immersive environment, looking around them. And so this is where the ocean sustainability kind of comes in. It says you are catching fish to feed your family. How many fish would you like to catch today? So I will let Syl choose.
I like fish.
Oh, okay. So yes, I kept that in mind, as in some people might not want fish at all. And so even if they choose that route, I went through the idea of pollution. And so here it says, even though you did not catch a fish, a couple of fish died. And so pick up 4 trash items. So I'll let Syl kind of look around. And so this is where the choose your own adventure part comes in. Like when there are choices being made, it takes basically, it jumps kind of to a different scene. And in this case, when he picks up 4 trash items, then it jumps to a different scene. And so now it says, thank you for picking up all of the trash. There's still more trash, as in someone dumped hazardous chemicals. And so now it says to please pick up the chemical bottles. There should be 2. And yeah, there's 1. And then once he picks it up, there would be, it will just takes them to a different one. So it says, thanks for picking up all the different bottles. I left the smoke there to like symbolize that even though the chemicals the chemical bottles are no longer there, right? The chemicals are technically still present in the ocean, in the ecosystem. And if they look around, they will see there's a lot less animals now. And so they can play this game over again if you get a little bit closer to the text. I think to the side, right? Touch the rock if you're interested in playing again. So go ahead and touch the rock. And so now, so one of the consequences, right, of ocean sustainability, or like one of the environmental consequences of pollution is that basically it would not sustain the ocean, it would affect the environment. And so now they can also take a look at a different scenario, a similar idea, and it just takes them through this path. So this time Soap chose to fish 4 fishes. Some more fish died. And it says, does the scene match to what happens? So the idea is the student is looking around, they're aware of their surroundings a little bit, see how many fish and whether, and like do a little bit of math. And so if we want to cheat a little bit, as in if you want to go directly to the answer, we can click yes. It should match. It says it's a new day. But the idea of asking the number of fish is done. Then they think about, okay, I have this many fish left. How many fish do you want to catch for your family? And it takes them like this other branch of choose your own adventure for that. So yeah, that's just about my project with Zoe Creator. It was really fun to create this project because it was very simple and it was like a fun, engaging way for storytelling. And I thought, like, in terms of like ocean sustainability, it's really hard for the students to imagine themselves being in the ocean or like seeing the fish around them. So I thought this would just be like an engaging way for them to think about ocean sustainability. So that's like one aspect of it. And then the other aspect to it is with the Choose Your Own Adventure book, I thought like, so I'm going to teach a winter term course in January, where basically I have a little group of students who are just interested in VR technology. And I was just going to show like one of the ways they can use VR technology, specifically the Zoe app right here, is like to create like a choose your own adventure. And I was going to use this as an example where you have different choices that the character can make. And then depending on the choice, then it would jump to like different scenes. So thank you so much for including me as part of this program. I learned a lot, and it was really cool to, like, as a student, thinking about it from a student lens, just to create something in VR technology, in the VR headset, and not just be a passive consumer, but to actually be a producer and use my creativity to like produce what I'm envisioning.
Thank you, Ellen.
Nice project.
It's such a cool project. Yeah, very much looking forward to seeing once you're able to integrate more with your students in the coming year. Thank you so much. Okay, next up from the University of Georgia, I'd like to invite Allison Howard to come forward. There she is. Hello, Allison. Would you give us a little introduction to yourself, please?
Sure, yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Allison Howard, and I am a faculty member in the Department of Psychology at the University of Georgia. I teach a lot of different courses, but a lot of them have to do with some neuroscience concepts and some anatomy concepts. And I also lead a lab and teach a course with students creating content in VR. And so over the course of the semester, this project you'll see has been a sort of prototype for my students to make their own content, and they're making things to treat test anxiety or phobia of needles or concepts about brain anatomy and so on. But this particular project that you'll see is something that was relevant to a lot of the other classes that I teach, and that is the structure of the neuron and the action potential, which is the way that neurons signal each other. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, big jump in topic, which is what we love at Zoe, that we can cover a whole range of different subjects. So it looks like
Yeah,
Sil
for
is
sure.
working on getting it pulled up now. How are we
That's
feeling,
Fantastic.
Sil?
Yes, I'm in there. All right.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so what you see here is a sort of laboratory, and students are tasked with building a neuron from all of these component parts. And so I'll kind of try and lead you how to do it. I would imagine that students would do this when they have already learned the concept of the structure of the neuron, but yeah, you've got it. You got the axon there. And then the endings of the axon, you'll need a cell body, that big kind of bulbous structure at the back. It's kind of light pink. And that guy goes where exactly? So you will, exactly, that's perfect. And so students will see the dendrites on those, on the neuron itself. This would be something that they would have studied before, but seeing it in 3 dimensions, we actually know from research it's helpful for students to learn something about anatomy or the alignment of structures in 3D. So they have all of these pieces, and then they would need to know the names of those pieces.
And just so that people don't feel bad, it's not my first time in the experience.
Great. Yeah, and so they can tap there to check their work, and it will show the model. So they can see what they got right, what they got wrong with the labels, and so on. Yeah.
And then I can add this. I won't be able to do it myself without
Yeah,
seeing that.
so the myelin will go on those little bulges. Yes, perfect. Yeah, retrieval practice. Exactly, that's the idea. So to see it in 3D, to get this practice at labeling, Zoe does that really, really well. And they get a cue that they've gotten it right, but they can also check their answers. And the next stage is going to sort of test a concept that they also would have learned in class, and that is the fact that between...
I've lost Allison's audio. Is it just me? Can other people hear Allison's audio?
I can't hear her anymore.
I'm gonna say hi. No, I cannot hear you either, Allison. I don't know why.
And now I hear y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the concept here is that in between neurons, they are going to communicate chemically, and within a neuron, it communicates electrically. And so this is another bit of retrieval practice. Students would lay out a sort of circuit, a line of 3 neurons, one after the other, and practice the concept that between neurons, it is chemical with these beakers, and within the neuron, the communication is electrical. So we have the beakers symbolizing chemical communication. Yeah, and these just go in between neurons. And then the little lightning bolts are electrical symbols. I ask this question on tests all the time, and students don't remember it. So this is a little bit of practice, and you can also tap to check your work.
Yeah, we'll just cheat.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. So they have the key there, and they can check their work. Okay. And that's it for this stage, essentially.
Nice. Cool. Let's go to the next stage.
Okay, and in this next stage, it is sort of essentially showing them zoomed in a little bit more of where those chemical and electrical communication signals are happening. So the action potential is graphed there at the bottom. If you press the red button on the left, in fact, either of the red buttons works. Yeah, then that will show you where the chemical and electrical signaling is occurring. So they look up at the neuron and they see this is chemical signaling. It's happening around these two spaces on the neuron, so they can see it. They can see it in 3D space, indicating where those signals are happening. And then the other red button will indicate and show where exactly the electrical signals are happening. And that is a bit hard to see on my screen, but I think it's much easier to see in VR in between the segments of myelin. So this is the place that they need to know electrical signals are really important in the neuron itself. And so across each of these stages, students are kind of zooming in more and more and more on the neuron and on the process of these ions flowing. And I think this is our second to last stage. So we are going to zoom in even farther. Here we have a reminder of where we are looking. The action potentials involve the movement of those charged particles, and then you can tap to zoom in. And we created this asset of a giant neuron that you can then tap to slice it in half. In fact, tap the text box. Yeah, exactly. And so this is showing that movement of ions a little bit more up close and personal. And you can tap the button and ions flow in. And as you are doing that, what you'll see is that the charge in this graph on the right-hand side changes. You can tap the next button to reset the ions, send them back where they originally came from, and then watch how the charge changes. Again, you can do that as many times as you like. So the ions move and it increases the voltage of the cell, and so on and so forth.
Cool. Nice.
And then the last stage is zooming in one final level, and that is to show students that those channels that they have been studying, they come in these different shapes, these different configurations. And so when ions try to move in one configuration, they can pass through, but in the other configurations, ions cannot pass through. So this is an important piece of like learning 3D layout of the structures, is to see them moving in real space. So you can, or virtual space, I should say. So if you press that button and then look up at your axon, you'll see the ions move. And the next button, they do not. They try. They would like to move into the neuron, but they cannot move. And then the final, they also cannot move. These are concepts that students would have already been learning. It's just a matter of seeing them in 3D space. And this is the end of the experience as I have it for now. But I have big plans to take this farther, and I want to actually have students build layouts of ions in the appropriate places to see if what they would predict would happen, will happen, with the movements that they have learned should happen. Can they put pieces in place? Because actually having the practice of laying out the parts of the neuron in their appropriate locations, I think is going to be a good reinforcement for the concepts. So.
Absolutely. I love it, Allison. I think this is such a cool way of simplifying quite complex concepts. As someone who hasn't taken an anatomy or a biology class in a very long time, I found this easy to understand, which really speaks to how well you crafted this, and surprisingly beautiful as well, I thought, seeing all of the ions sparkling for us.
Yeah, it's really satisfying seeing them moving. Great. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing how it continues to grow and evolve. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay, and our final person for our first group we'll be introducing you to is Lucas Vale. from the Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Norte. Sorry, my Portuguese is not good. So he will be introducing himself before sharing a video of his prototype. So hi, Lucas.
Hi. So my name is Lucas Vale. I am a history teacher and a student in a PhD program in educational technology here in Brazil. My English is not good, but I have been exploring VR and immersive learning in my research, and I really love it. It was a great pleasure for me to join the Zoe program for educators. And I made a video about my project for you. And so I hope you like it.
Thank you so much, Lucas. All right,
Hello
Emily,
everyone,
let's
I am
roll.
Lucas Vale and I'm so happy to share with you my first VR project in the Zoe Creator Program Summer 2024. I made a game about ancient Egypt. Look at this. I love this experience because I could learn more about the entire process of designing VR games and use my creative to solve problems and create new things. The best part of Zoe is that it's not necessary to use code for anything. The app is easy for beginners and has a large asset library. I hope you like it.
Yay! That's it. My project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank
Something
you,
that
Lucas. It looks amazing.
Something that I can say to people that are listening and don't necessarily know about Zoe is that we have an asset library, a local asset library in Zoe, but we also have a Sketchfab
Yes.
integration.
I use
So
both.
yeah, in that case, you used a lot of assets from Sketchfab, and that's also something that is quite powerful. Of course, we can't have every asset in the world in the app, but for every asset that we don't have, you can always search into the Sketchfab library.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Lucas. All right, we're gonna swap over for a moment so that our second group of folks can get into our waiting room and get ready. I believe Emily's just gonna put a little 30-second countdown up as we get everyone sorted out. So we will be right back.
I will do that. I can also do a little dance, just to show that I'm still here and watching. But I think most of this, so we have Haydar, Mia, and Samuel are here. We're just waiting on if Dan and Henry, you hear me in the live on LinkedIn, you are welcome to join the show as well. And I'm almost done with my 30 seconds, but I can still put the countdown just for the pleasure of having it here. It gives a little bit of oomph to the to the stream. So see you in 30 seconds.
All right. Hello again, everybody. It is my pleasure to introduce our first member of Group 2. This is Haydar Muntadar. Please give us a little bit about who you are and your background, please.
Hi, hello. So my name is Haydar Muntadar. I've worked in the field of what's known as countering violent extremism, but with a special focus on education and different aspects of education. And I'm excited to showcase my program today, which focuses on civic education.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Sil, are we ready to go on your end?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. All right.
Let's see.
Let's see what Haydar's made.
So are you expecting me to kind of talk through the program?
Yeah, if you want, Haydar, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you grab the lamp, if that's possible. Okay, cool. All right, okay, so we're rocking and rolling. So really what I wanted to do was create a program. This is all just a prototype, but just to kind of demonstrate the potential of how these lessons can be put in place. But I wanted to initially build a program that allows the students, and young students in particular, to engage with Middle Eastern Arab culture, whether that be our old folklores and folk stories, to our architecture, to some of our artifacts like musical instruments and so on and so forth. I wanted it to be a light touch approach and introduction to our rich history. But within that as well, I wanted to have specific learning outcomes, and I wanted those learning outcomes to be really focused on civic identity and education, teaching young people and students the importance of engaging with different cultures and art and history and so on and so forth, engaging with other people, as you'll see later on in different scenes. Taking care of wildlife was another one that I wanted to kind of integrate into this. Again, I wanted to kind of help build some of that cultural understanding, as you can see here, from when you can fashionably put one on someone's head. It wouldn't be the Middle East without a game of backgammon, or as we call it, Bowley. Extra bonus points if you can smack down your piece as hard as you can when you move around the board.
Yeah,
rated on for me. Yeah, and so you just a kind of like light touch introduction. And then I don't know if you missed it at the very beginning, there was someone who was saying she needs a coin.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, look, there you go. How fortunate, there is a coin there. I played around with some of the sounds. I think some of the sounds that are integrated into Zoe is quite cool. So, you know, there's like a cue basically that allows you to know that you've done the right thing and that it's quite mysterious. So you're given the coin down, and lo and behold, a magic carpet that you can jump on in. And that should take you to the second scene. So I really wanted to integrate an element of storytelling into this as a means of learning. I always think that that's probably one of the best ways to educate through storytelling. It's the way that it's most sticky for me. Okay, so these scenes are loading. Probably, yeah. So this obviously, I'm from Iraq originally, so obviously these Babylonian gates are quite. They obviously are quite, you know, draw up a lot of emotion for me. And I thought that was one of the really cool things for this, is that, you know, you can't experience this like you can through VR. If you're taking a look at through TV or pictures, it's just not the same. And here you go. Here's some of the first tasks and exercises. So this is actually, I believe, based on an old folk story as well, of where camels had to use their noses and scent in order to lead to an oasis. And there is Cami, and she is saying she's a herbivore. If you look, oh, sorry, still to the right behind you, you might see some food. And, well, you're going to have to see what you think the Cami would like to eat for her to have the energy to try and lead you to an oasis. You say you went for plant? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, one of them's got, okay, so there's a okay, so you try and feed that camel. One of them's already gone somehow for some reason. Okay, I think, yeah, so we're having a few difficulties, as that one should have been fed. I don't know. Go back.
Oh, you want me to
We've
go
had a
back
few
there?
difficulties. Yeah, so basically what it should have happened if it was all working fine was, if you feed the camel, it would walk forward and then it would bring down the gates, and the gates should then show you an oasis. Oh no, I think so. Something must have gone wrong in this program, so it's gone haywire.
Yeah, I mean, the interaction.
Yeah, no, it's got this stuff. So this basically then just kind of describes to you what an oasis is, and then allows you to then press there you go. So just kind of educate you about. The whole purpose of this was really to showcase that it's important to take care of wildlife and the environment, and also to educate around the oasis about what oases are. Oases. I think maybe. But then behind you, it will say push a button. And if you push that button, it will take you to the third scene, hopefully. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so this was a cool asset, and it was a cool way of demonstrating the kind of beauty of Islamic art and neck architecture, one that obviously focuses on geometrical shapes and patterns. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then I also wanted to kind of demonstrate how the Zoe platform could be used to kind of ask and answer a few questions. And I did it through the quirky way, again, of rubbing lamps and trying to summon genies. So you have to choose the correct lamp to answer the question. And if you do, you see the Haydar genie come up. So there's two other questions if you go in rotation.
Oh yeah, you have to touch the
Oh, yes, you
lamp.
got to pick up the lamp. There you go. You don't actually have to use your other hand to rub the lamp, but I thought that was a cool secret that we can withhold. So the idea is to kind of grab it with one hand and use the other hand to rub it.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so we don't have to tell them that that's not really needed, but there you go. Then basically, if you go right, just a little bit more right. The other right. You'll see basically what a lot of the civic identity and educational principles had come from a program that I'd participated in with the Salzburg Global Seminar. So I wanted to give a nod to that, and I'd really encourage anyone who's interested in this program to check out the organization and the statement that was made by the participants there as well. And that really is the program. Apologies again for there was a few mishaps with the camels. It's always the trouble working with animals, but there you go.
Thank you so much, Haydar. That was gorgeous, really visually compelling. I enjoyed that a lot. You've got a question just popped up asking if you created the assets because they're very impressed with the Babylonian arch.
Yeah, no, I was very fortunate that was in Sketchfab, and I thought it was gorgeous as well. And so I really I was really, really fortunate in having that there. And I'm really excited to see how things develop and progress as technology grows and it becomes easier to make scans and so on and so forth. How those can be integrated into lessons, I think, is a really exciting thing. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, full credit to whoever had made that.
Yeah, agreed. And yes, overall, absolutely fantastic prototype. Thank you so much for taking the time to share it with us today, Haydar.
No worries. No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the program as well. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you. Okay. Next up, we are taking it to Samuel Landete from the American School of Valencia. There he is. Hello, Samuel. How are you?
Hello, fine. Hello from Spain. It's 8 p.m. here, and I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Samuel Landete. I am the IT director at the American School of Valencia. And I was super happy and super lucky to be selected for this Zoe Creator program. My experience, the context is I wanted to introduce Zoe to teachers, and I wanted to show them the possibilities and how easy it was to program it. So first I have the experience, and then I would lead them behind the curtain and show them how it's done, so that they get the idea and they hopefully can use it in the classroom and make their students use it. So,
wonderful. All right. Sil, is everything ready on your end to see Samuel's project?
Maybe. You're not casting, just so you know. I'm just going to tell you this, so you know, idea.
Let me.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh.
Yeah, I need to cast my screen again. Just bear with me. For some reason, my controller is unresponsive.
You know, I'm already surprised we haven't gone without any issues in like 60 minutes. So you're good.
I'll try to change the battery just to check if
In the meantime, I will address the question from Giovanna. Yes, this will live on LinkedIn, the full recording of this. So not to worry if you need to leave. You can absolutely watch the rest at a later time. Thank you so much for spending the hour with us, Giovanna.
Hi, Giovanna.
All right. Unfortunately, I need to shut down the headset and the.
Of course you do. All
Yeah.
right. I always have a plan B, meaning that I have all the videos of everyone's project hanging around. So if you want to reboot your headset, I can also load up Samuel's video.
Yeah, it's
What do you think,
probably
Samuel, do you want?
Absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm fine
Okay.
either way. Yeah.
I'm gonna find it. I'm just gonna have to do this live.
at some
again.
point I will be able to go back in, but in the meantime, maybe you can just launch the video.
I will
Sorry about
try to do my best to do this somehow. I was gonna load it up, but it's not really. I think it's too big or something. Give me a minute. We can put you a countdown again, but we'll get there.
I'm almost there. I just opened Zoe again.
Yeah, you're gonna be faster than I am.
All right. Let me just share my screen again.
For the next one, prepare the technical difficulties.
It had to fall on
The show
you,
must
you
go
know?
on.
And I don't know why I decided to put all the people in Europe in the second group, but I'm sorry it's late, I know. But I'm in Switzerland at the moment, so we're living in the same time. See?
We're good. We're good. I'm in
Still,
space.
it was
That's
much
what we
faster like this,
Yeah.
so we're good. It's
Mhm.
just more fun live.
All right.
Great stuff.
All
Yeah.
right.
So the experience is like escape room where you are stranded in space and you need to follow a series of clues. Okay, so basically you need to touch the only planet where the year takes 42 years, and you know that's Uranus. So if you go and touch Uranus, it's the blue one.
You weren't there the other day when Silla was
Correct.
testing, and it took him like 1 hour to figure out which one had 42 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
42 years, yes. Okay. So the spaceship appears, and of course there's a second clue there. And the second clue is the spaceships use hydrogen, so you need to grab the flask and take it to a planet that is mostly hydrogen. And you know that's because you are a very good student, you know that's Jupiter.
Of course. I'm pretty familiar with this.
Yeah. So when you touch Jupiter, you have another clue there that you need to take the Erlenmeyer flask full with hydrogen back to the spaceship in order to fuel it. Okay, so when you get there, you deposit it in the fuel tank, and the spaceship is lit on fire and you escaped. Okay, it's a very short experience, but it has like that interaction, it has the touch, the grab, you know, so I wanted to keep it simple for teachers also, so it's not very overwhelming, but it's also quite magical to be floating in space. So I thought that it has this wow factor of being floating in space, but it's also like simple enough so that they get like 2-3 concepts, 2-3 ideas to get them excited.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, it is a succinct but thorough synopsis of all of the possibilities of the program. And it is beautiful to be in space. I love this. Visually, it's fantastic. Thank you so much, Samuel.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay, I think we're moving to our most northerly creator now. We're taking it over to Finland with Mia Hanström from Young Voices of the Archipelago. There she is. Hello, Mia.
Hello.
Hello, Mia.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Maybe I'm the northly person. We are living out in the central Baltic Sea on small islands, and I'm a youth worker. I'm not working in school, so I work with young people, teenagers between 14 and 18 years old in their leisure time. So it's more of an informal learning than in school. And our challenge is that our youth are living on different islands, and when we discovered VR we saw that this could be a way of meeting them more often. So we have meetings 2 hours a week in VR, and then we have tried now during this possibility for us to use Zoe. So yeah, I don't know, but maybe we will try. It's a bit of a chaos place, I can say, because the idea was that it's not me that has built it, it's the young people together with me. So some of them have built like only installations, not so interactive. And some of them have done more interactive things, and some of them have made signs, but they are in Swedish. So for example, if we go to the table where they have built like a coffee place, so there is like serve tea and coffee, and then you will see what's happening, touch the cake, take some of the small cakes and see what's happening, take the fork and put it into the cupcake. So yeah, so they have trained their interaction, and they have done it like learning and have fun together. So maybe you can take the fork there and see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bug because in the beginning it started to explode and you hear the sound, but then after a while it didn't do that anymore. And so there are different persons who have been active in building the things in the scene. If we go away, you see the explosion rather far away. Here it's without signs. So first one was starting, they had an idea. Yeah, there is a hand. The one person had an idea to make like escape room for the camel or but then another one decided that they should take the card and pay and try to give the camel some food. So the idea was to put it there, yeah. And then you will see an apple coming somewhere on the side. Yeah. And did you see the apple on the? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you take the apple, and the idea was to feed the camel, and the camel should escape, but you will see what's happening. The camel dies instead. So yeah, when you work with teenage, you never know what will happen. And yeah, so they have made different kind of interaction. Here is a bug because someone changed what was going to happen. I think they had an idea about the explosion, but yeah. So it is. It's a work in progress all the time for them. So.
Well, it's a challenge, I suppose, to work in just one scene with multiple students, but I guess it's also really interesting too.
Yeah, in the beginning they were a bit frustrated because we have been in rec room before, but then it was also a good way of training interaction and cooperation because they had to wait until everyone was ready for seeing if something happened. So yeah. So we have been around 4 or 6 persons. This is the last thing we did. Yeah, here they said you should what's called you should take your hand on the bird or the owl, and then she's screaming and yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, so different things have happened, and they have learned a lot, but they also want to go back to Rec Room because there is some kind of more of games and things like that. But I think we have learned a lot, and we will see for the future because yeah, the challenge is with the different places, and I think so we gave a possibility to be more calm and work together in the group.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Mia. I think it's so fun to see how imaginative everyone's been coming up with the way everything interacts. It's fun, it's different because so many people are focused on making it so realistic. And I really enjoyed seeing people just letting their imagination take charge. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next up, we have got Henry Aberly from Virginia Tech. I can see him now. Hello, welcome, Henry.
Hi, well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Would you, oh, go ahead, Sil.
No, I just wanted to say hello.
Hi, Sil. So hi, my name is Henry Aberly. I am currently adjunct instructor of Japanese at Virginia Tech. Actually, I teach completely online. I live in Pittsburgh, and I'm teaching 2 of their elementary Japanese courses. And some of my research as a master's student looked at how we can integrate VR into the language classroom. I teach Japanese, so I was really excited to get the opportunity to be a part of this program. And there was a specific kind of output that I wanted to use this for. I play a game. It's a traditional card game called Karuta, which is been in existence in different forms since the 1200s. So it's a classical Japanese card game with Portuguese influence. Actually, it's kind of cool. And the word karuta comes from Portuguese. But I want to see this game kind of have a place in our Japanese classes because it uses the basic alphabet. And I'd also like to see eventually a VR version of this to connect players all across the world. A lot of players are in Japan, but players like myself in America and Europe, different parts of, just Egypt now. So, I mean, it's really people are everywhere. So this is kind of that. I'm making it complicated because this is going to be our first, multiplayer experience here. So normally when you play this game, actually, maybe I'll just quickly share my screen because I have just some resources to make it a little more obvious, but I don't know can you see that?
I think Emily is, yeah.
Okay, so so this is the website for the Japanese Card Association. Basically, the cards, you have two versions of the cards. You have the full poem, and then you have the end of the poem, and it's kind of like a matching game, but like a speed game. You have to take the poem as it's being read, but what you're seeing is the end of the poem. So there's some memorization, there's some reading, and the rules are pretty simple. It's like matching, but it teaches people how to also culturally, there's bowing. There's sometimes you speak with your opponent, and so it's just there's a lot of rich things to learn from this kind of game. And it was a cool opportunity to learn how to use Sketchfab and design my own cards since they don't exist currently. So anyway, I'll stop sharing my screen there. And so I think, Sil, you're going to be the player and I'm going to be the reader. So what you're hearing are my recordings of the cards. So I'm going to maybe let's, Sil, if you could mute yourself, because I don't want it to be double feedback on the audio. And then I guess the audio should be coming out from my headset. So I tried to put the volume up pretty high. So
let's see if that works, because we'll see. We'll try.
We'll try.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't create all 100 cards, but anyway, so you can jump into the experience, and hopefully this works. Here we go.
Right. Sylvain, you're muted if you're talking. Of course, you don't need to mute yourself. I'll mute you. I can. I'll DJ mute you. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask you to maybe go first in your scene, and then I join you.
Okay. Yeah. I just got to the scene.
So you're going into V3, right?
Yes, V3.
Okay. Cool. I will just reload.
We'll see. We know how that multiplayer.
Okay, I see your red dot.
So far, so good.
You're in there.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, so do I have to press play then? I guess.
No, I actually stay in edit mode. I will ask you I will ask to join, and you will just need to accept. You will see a prompt appearing.
Oh, okay. Ah, there you are. Should I reject?
Yay.
Okay. Oh, hello. Oh my God, with the hat and everything. So this is kind of cool. Get to see the multiplayer side of Zoe too. Hello. So hopefully you can see the sign. So it says Yokoso, which is welcome in Japanese, welcome to this VR experience. And we're gonna head, so I guess hit the play button and we'll head on over to the room that has everything in it.
You can just play, you can press the play button yourself. I will join you automatically in play mode.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Do you want me to mute Sylvain, Henry?
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
Sylvain, bye. We'll see how that goes.
So I don't know. I'm kind of floating up pretty high. Are you kind of really high off the ground too? Yeah. All right. So maybe. All right. We'll see. We'll see if this works because I might need to just adjust the height and everything. But let me. Oh well, you're talking to me and I can't. Okay. Well, I'll try and play the music and see what happens. So here we go. So I'm gonna hit the first card. So normally players are sitting on the tatami mats, and I put 3 cards out here. So each player has their own cards that are facing each other. But so there's a reader, they read from the 100 cards. So this is the first one. Let's see if this works. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So he touched the first card and now he got a message telling him about, a little bit of the history of the card, which is from like 700 AD, which is pretty crazy. All right. So now I'll play that second one.
I was going to say, Sylvain, did you learn Japanese while I was gone? Or is it just because you know everything by heart?
I wish I had.
Oh, yeah. And each poem, by the way, so you heard the first half. So the way the game works, the reader, which is like I'm being the reciter right now, will read the end of the poem and end of that poem, and they go straight into the next one. All right. So I'm reading the end of the first poem now. Read. Can I reach it? Oh no! Whoopsies. Okay, so unfortunately I touched two cards at the same time, but there you go. Yeah, sorry, the height is a little bit of a problem. Unfortunately, I tried to get it realistic. All right, but you get the idea here. So, and then for the last one, I just made it spin around a little bit, but that's essentially the game. So, yeah, I think this is just a really cool way to, connect people to learn about the game, use their hiragana, Japanese alphabet abilities, and hopefully connect players around the world. So that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Henry. And thank you for being brave enough to be our multiplayer guinea pig. I appreciate that.
Yeah, what I did just before our playthrough, I went into the settings and I just put myself at a low height. So that's something that you can do to. Especially
okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if that would kind of ruin the whole thing for us, but great, yeah, awesome.
And it's not an exact science in the sense that sometimes it gets decentered and you have to quit and relaunch Zoe if you have height issues, but yeah, it's fun. I can't tell you how many times I've been just laying on the floor trying to play some of the.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Henry. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Extremely cool prototype, and yeah, wishing you the best of luck with it. All right, folks. So our last live demo will be coming from Daniel Lynch at the Marlborough School. There he is. Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
Hello. Good. Good. So good to be here and talking to everybody and hearing about all your cool projects. My name is Dan Lynch. I teach at Marlboro School, which is a girls' school in Los Angeles. I teach history, world history, AP US history, and I also run the honors research program for humanities and social sciences. So today we'll be looking at a timeline activity that I plan on using in my world history class next semester. So this is 11th grade world history, high school level world history, and the time period we're looking at here is the Cold War and decolonization period. So from the end of World War II through like the 1990s. And this is a complex period because you've got like two major themes going on. You've got the decolonization theme, where you have a lot of these empires crumbling after World War II, the European empires, the Japanese empire, and so on, and all these new nations being born around the world, particularly in Africa and Asia. And then you also have the Cold War ramping up between the Soviet Union and the US. And a lot of these events are kind of tied into both themes. So in all of my units, connections between historical events is a big thing that I stress. And one of the things I test on are Connect 4 paragraphs, where students have to take a cluster of terms. They have an option of like 2 clusters of 5 terms, and they have to pick one of those clusters and write a paragraph talking about how 4 of those terms are linked, both in an overall thematic sense and then in terms of strong connections between the terms, like cause and effect, similarity or difference, or continuity and change. And so for this unit, it's particularly challenging because you've got these 2 themes interacting at the same time. So the connections can be complicated, right? But very important to grapple with. And so typically the way I teach this in class is I have the students take notes in the terms, we discuss connections, and then we do a big messy timeline on the board, on the whiteboard. It gets really complicated and it's hard for students to see all the connections at once. But a 3D timeline like this, we had a chance to talk about this, Emily, Sil and myself, and we kind of thought about like a semicircle timeline as a way to be able to see the whole thing in one view and kind of be immersed in the timeline. So it kind of wraps around. You have all these events that are part of the Cold War and decolonization, and you can kind of inhabit this room. And to help the students remember the terms, if you click on the terms, an object appears that somehow kind of relates to it. So you've got United Nations, you got like a globe spinning around. Iron Curtain is, like you would imagine, is like a curtain, right? And so these are just kind of like nice, easy, cartoony ways to think about the Satyagraha is the Indian nationalist movement led by Gandhi. Cold War is an ice cube. So a way to kind of wrap your head around what the term is. And you know, that's kind of step 1 in the timeline, is to put everything out there and have NATO, have the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, have a battleship, and it's still added that animation, which is really cool, firing guns. So yeah, you have the conference, you know, the Bandung Conference, which is like the non-alignment movement. Suez Crisis is a pyramid representing Egypt. These are just ways to help the students remember what these terms are about. You got the Warsaw Pact alliance with the tank. So that's kind of step 1, of kind of putting them all in a timeline and seeing how they are chronologically situated with each other. The real heavy lifting comes when you have to connect the 2 of them. So this would be an activity for students to do in the class. I have them do this on the board. It gets very, very messy, but here they could lay out connections by actually drawing lines between some of these things. You got Checkpoint Charlie there, famous symbol of the Iron Curtain, the Cuban Missile Crisis. So for example, the Checkpoint Charlie thing could be connected to the Iron Curtain. You could draw a line that would go across the timeline. And that would be, you know, the connection would be the Berlin Wall is representing kind of the hardening of the Iron Curtain over time, right? It's part of the Iron Curtain. It's a central part of the Iron Curtain, and it represents how the Iron Curtain becomes more solid over the years, from Winston Churchill first kind of coining the term to it reaching this, you know, very real, tangible wall that separates East and West Berlin and has this checkpoint in between. So you could draw a line between the 2. You could write a text description saying that the Berlin Wall is part of the Iron Curtain. It's the hardening of the Iron Curtain, something that they could replicate in a paragraph when they're writing about it. But they describe the connection, they draw the line. And so students working with groups could be getting in here together, forging these connections, being able to save their work in a way that's hard on a whiteboard in a classroom where you have to wipe the thing clean every day. But everything could be put on this in this timeline, this room that's also a timeline. And the students are forging an understanding of the connections, a robust understanding of how these terms relate to each other, so that when they're giving a random assortment of terms to try to make a paragraph out of them, they have plenty to work with. They know how these things relate to each other, how they're connected. Like, this is the kind of thing as a history teacher I've been doing in my brain for several decades, understanding how these events relate to each other and how they're part of a historical context. But students have a very short time to forge those kinds of connections, right? And this is a way to make it tangible for them, to make it real. They physically are putting the things on a timeline. They're putting the connections between them. It's kind of like the memory technique of the memory palace, where they have like a 3D space where they're imagining this goes here, that goes there. These things are connected in this way. They're actively forging the connections by typing up descriptions of them. And you can do animations for this where you could turn on a couple of terms and the connections between them would light up, and only those, right? So you could simplify what's a very complex web of connections and isolate a few factors. So for like as a review activity, I could have the students either film a video or have them in the room, and we could say, how are these 2 or 3 terms connected? Let's light them up and see what the lines are that you've forged between them, and talk about how they're connected to each other. So I think it's a good way to help students forge a robust understanding of connections in history in a way that is very tangible and not just abstract. It helps them forge these kind of neural connections in their memory in a way that it's hard to do just using your own imagination or writing on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard. That's basically the idea.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dan. I'm really pleased that you said about it putting you in mind of a memory palace, because I was going to say the exact same thing. I think this is such a smart visual tool.
Yeah, and you've put Silva
Sil's hard
you've
at
put
work.
Sil
Yeah.
in creation mode. Like, he's gone. He's just gonna.
Yeah.
Are you trying to do the link? Right, that's what you're trying to do.
Let's do an escalation.
Escalation link.
Yeah, so some of the events are right next to each other, so you can do a short link for like cause and effect, but other ones could stretch across like thematically. The semicircle allows you to do that.
Yeah, I think something else, also a drawing tool would be good for your project. Something to think about. Adding some kind of pen, or so that you can actually just draw the lines with the controller. Cool.
Amazing.
This was a
Well,
great.
thank
This
you
was
very
a great
much,
last
Dan.
project.
Yeah. Well, to my understanding, we have one video to share from.
Yes, we do.
So for Anil Sapkota, who was unable to be with us live today, he has put together a video so that we can still enjoy the fruits of his labor and take a look at his prototype. So Emily, is that video ready to go?
It is ready. Bye, Dan. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Dan.
I think it's ready. Let's see. There you go.
All right. So for my project, what I decided to do is I decided to create a project called an array of vegetables. So basically, the idea is to use VR to teach the computer science concepts like an array or other advanced data structures. Basically, I'm trying to create a mental model or schema around data structures. And so when we log in, we'll see this farmer. He will say, "Hey, guests are coming to pick up their orders." Each basket is labeled, so there's like a labeled basket. And the idea is the labeled basket act as an array, because if you know computer science term, then an array is a collection, but it also has index associated with each item in an array. And then the order, it says the order should be cabbage, broccoli, artichoke, green pepper, and beet. So what the user will go is go ahead and grab this, and then I will try to follow the instruction and there's immediate feedback. I'm trying to add more, but right now the clap is what I found to be most useful and helpful. So I didn't quite go there. Of course, I'm grabbing broccoli. Same with the 2. So I'm following this and then trying to basically put the item as per what it says. And now I'll take this beat, and when I go in here, it will tell me, good job, you just create an array, and then the order was this. So this is the initial phase of array creation. Then the next step would be similar. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Now I tried to add some sort of story using the given text box. So it says guest for basket 2 is not coming. Can you remove the vegetable? So basically this is I'm using a basket of vegetable, but I'm trying to teach them the computer science, the concept of array data structure. So this is right here. Can you remove the vegetable from the right basket? So it says basket number 2, so 0, 1, 2. I'll come in here, grab it, and you can see, hey, great job, you just deleted an item. Sorry, I think that was too quick. But basically taking out the item would relate to deleting it. And the idea is with whatever you have, right? Enjoy, very easy to create stuff, but the main interaction I'm relying right now, since it doesn't have the audio feature yet, or maybe at least I didn't know about it. So I'm using a lot of text to read for the instructions. So it says we have received a surprise delivery of pumpkins from the neighboring farm. A new buyer wants to buy it all and stick. So there's some sort of story, and the student or learner has to solve that challenge. He wants pumpkin in basket 1. So this is about shifting. So basically I need to insert a new item into this basket, but I have to follow a certain order. So that means it says you will have to shift the vegetables to the right. So I'll shift this here, this over here, this over here. This is how the actual computer science data structure called array would work when you're inserting an item. And when I put in here, then it says, hey, great job, you just inserted an item to an array by the concept of right shifting. So I basically shifted to right to get it to working. Now, this is the not the, I would not say the final, but this is the latest thing that I'm working. It's about sorting an array, and basically it says, hey, we need the vegetable basket to be sorted by alphabetical order. You'll need to use quicksort. So quicksort is a type of algorithm for sorting with your very first vegetable as a pivot. So that means cabbage would be my pivot. So, and the big basket is a pivot, so I'm putting in between here. Now, use last basket as a pivot, and then the I think I still have a few more text from the earlier one. So basically this is where I am, what I'm working on right now. So the whole idea is using this basket as a mental model for students to learn about the concept of array. And so basically the gesture of adding, removing, and sorting would help them learn about the basic computer science algorithm skills, so they can learn how to understand how the sorting array works, inserting in an array, or deleting in an array works. Few things that I'm still working on is adding more scaffolding, like, maybe adding hints and stuff. So this initial iteration was basically me trying to use the Zoe as a tool and get it to the basic idea of working with arrays. So if it's inserting, then I'm grabbing, putting into different baskets. So I'm getting the first stage of this app working. But the second iteration of this app would be to add some hints, challenges. Maybe if Joey adds some HUDs or heads over display, maybe display them some scores, and maybe they will get some extra, life or something like something, maybe something more fun. So I would like to add some more gamifications to it. Yeah, that's all from my presentation. Thank you very much for watching this, and thanks to Joy team for giving me this opportunity, and hope you all have a good day. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks, Anil. I know you're watching, so I hope everything's going better. And that was very interesting. We are over with all this presentation. I think we're practically on time, just 5 minutes over. So
5 minutes over. Not
it's
bad.
not too bad. 5 minutes due to the screen sharing, we'll say, right? Not even. No, pretty good. So I guess words of outro. Thanks everyone for listening, and thank you to all the creators for participating, doing the work, delivering, publishing. It's really amazing to see. I've rarely seen so many different projects within immersive learning, so it's kind of nice. It's going to bring up, I think, a lot of ideas also to others who are doing this. Thanks, Kaylee, for hosting. Thanks, Sil, for demoing. I'm surprised it went so well, so that's good. We are going to keep this format for next time. And I'm just going to give one for those who weren't there, were watching the video maybe at the beginning or at the middle. You can sign up for the next creator program now until January. So take that QR code and go on our website. It's zoeimmersive.com/creator program. And yeah, we can't wait to see what you all want to build, right? So I'm going to say good night to myself. It's almost 9 p.m. Good day to those who are in the West Coast. And thanks a lot for this. It was great.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Langdon.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.